Hey everyone, this is Chris from Chris's Game Room. Today I will not be playing any video games. I am going to be doing a comparison between two very popular and very famous card games. In fact, I am actually going to do three, and I'm pretty sure those who are watching this know which one they are, as it'll probably be in the title. But getting on with it, we will be comparing Pokemon TCG with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic Magic the Gathering. Sorry. This is the first time I've ever done this. I will admit, I am biased towards Magic the Gathering, but I have played all three of these games. Now, the reason why I say Magic the Gathering is my favorite is because of the simple fact that it is a much older game. It has matured very much over the years, and it is just overall, I think, a better game. It's less broken, it's easier to pick up, and it's takes more skill than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon I have not played in a while, and the reason I haven't is because I lost my craze for Pokemon in 7th grade, and I am currently a sophomore. But I still keep some cards, and I've got two rather expensive cards. I got a Garatina EX promo. It's it's an excellent card, and I love the artwork. I think Pokemon does very good for their artwork. And a White Kyurem EX, also foil. Now, I have been collecting Magic the Gathering for close to 6 years now. I have a huge collection of over 2,000 cards. And I'm actually going to get something that I can use as a symbol for it so I don't have just cards on the field. Okay, so Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. I really, really just love Magic. I think it's an excellent game, as I've said earlier. It has a much more solid gameplay. One second. Okay, I just searched the... Okay. One of the biggest points between Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to leave Pokemon out of this for a little while. I am looking at the ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh's cards. And it is massive. It is one of the longest ban lists I have ever seen. And the Magic the Gathering has a lot more. Okay, so it's older. Of course, it'll have more cards in the banned list. But the thing is, you are able to play each card in a different format. Be it standard, which is what uses the most recent cards from the most recent set. There's modern, which allows you to play and use cards as old as modern. Go as far back as 8th edition, and that's very old. And even with all these different formats, the one that has the longest ban list is Legacy, and that's the one where you get to use cards from any set. And it's much more available to brand new players who happen to have a family member who has a bunch of old cards. It's very fun. I personally haven't played it because I don't have a lot of old cards, but I know a lot of people who play it. The ban list, of course, is going to be long because it uses every set made for Magic the Gathering. Whereas Modern allows you to use cards only back to 8th edition. Standard, there are no banned cards because it goes with the most recent blocks, which are the expansions. And modern, okay, vintage goes all the way back to 2003. Well, wait, no. Modern only lets you play as far back as 2003. Vintage lets you play cards from any set in the 20-year long history of Magic the Gathering. And it doesn't have just it doesn't just have banned. It has restricted cards, like you can only have one in your deck, and those are like the broken, overpowered ones. Legacy has the longest banned list, but it makes it more accessible to new players because it doesn't have any restrictions. It just has the banned list, and most of these cards are already extremely expensive. So going on with it, I'm going to compare artwork between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering. So what I have here is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Saber Force starter deck. I haven't... okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've never played a full game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that I would be rather good with it, but the thing is, I don't live in an area where trading card games are very prominent. And I have played practice games with this deck online, and I've also done it with other games and other decks. And I must say, I love the way that that it still has foil cards. I really enjoy some of the foil art. I'm going to be comparing dragons because this is my dragon deck. This is my standard dragon deck. I guess I'll compare it with Shivan Dragon. Actually, no. Let me find a foil dragon real quick. I should have prepared for this. I have seen videos where people have tried playing a Magic the Gathering deck against a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, and I actually have not seen like a full one. I've seen people do a little bit of one and then stop midway. I guess I'll go ahead and just compare with Shivan Dragon. Okay, so the way Magic the Gathering works, for those who do not understand, who have not played it or don't know anyone who does play it, Magic the Gathering runs on a system of lands that give you energy called mana to cast your cards. So this is a card that when I turn it sideways, it gives me one red or one green mana that I can use to cast a spell. And certain cards, it's very much like your tribute system for you Yu-Gi-Oh players. It is okay. So Odd Eyes Saber Dragon. So this has Tier 7, I think it is what it's referred to as. I'm not sure. Level 7, I don't know. But I would have to I would have to sacrifice 2 creatures to play this on the battlefield. Now, that's cool, but but the thing is, in Yu-Gi-Oh, you can play as many. You can get all your cards really quick onto the battlefield in one turn. But in Magic the Gathering, you can only play one land or one card that will allow you to tap and play a card per turn, and some cards require 7 of them, others 6, maybe 2 or 3. It changes with every card, or it changes from card to card and how strong they are and all that. But this, for you Magic the Gathering players, you already understand all this, and you may not understand the tribute thing from Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, so in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to pretty much, if you wanted to play a certain card, you would have to sacrifice 2 of your monsters, or maybe just 1, or for a card that only has between 1 and 4 stars, you can play without sacrificing anything. But like 5 to 6 is you have to sacrifice 1, I think, and then 7 and above, you have to sacrifice at least 2. And there are special summonings where you can summon it without doing any of that crap. But frankly, I have never used it myself. In Magic the Gathering, there are abilities that allow you to just play this onto the battlefield right away. And it is rather quick and effective. I'm sorry that the camera is there's so much difference between where the cards are and the cameras. I have a desk and I don't have any way to have it on the dang it, hit a button on my mouse. But going back to the ban list, because Yu-Gi-Oh only has one format, it has a very long ban list. Cards that are okay. I'm looking at the Konami's website. Forbidden and limited lists, effective from July 16th, 2015. Cards that are forbidden cannot be used in your main deck, extra deck, or side deck. That's pretty much like your... Never mind, I'm not going to go into it. If you're curious, look it up. I'm not going to get into that much detail. You can have one maximum copy of limited cards in your main deck, extra deck, and side deck. Combined, you can only have 2 copies of maximum of a semi-limited card in your main deck, etc. So, looking at the list, there is at least 30 or 40 cards on this. And I'm not going to count because I don't have the time. Ain't nobody got time for that. And it was updated June 16th, so it's rather recent. And today is October 6th. That's when I'm filming this video. The ban list compared to Magic the Gathering is very hard on new players because most of these cards are very strong. I have read many articles comparing Magic the Gathering to Yu-Gi-Oh! And what Wizards of the Coast does versus what Konami does. Wizards of the Coast doing Magic the Gathering, Konami doing Yu-Gi-Oh! With Yu-Gi-Oh!, what Konami does is, I have read many articles on this. What they do is they release a very powerful card that becomes a staple, and they can cost hundreds of dollars for a single one, and you need 4 of them. And Konami milks that money from their consumers and their players, and then they put it on a ban list, and you can't use it again. And that completely messes up the game, and it stops players from wanting to continue playing because what happens is they're out of money. They can't buy any more cards, and Konami milks their customers so much. Wizards of the Coast, I admit, they have made their mistakes, but I have found that the way they do their business is much more effective. It's much better for the customer, and it just overall, I think Wizards of the Coast does a better job because they don't milk your wallet. Sure, well, actually they do, but they don't do it as hardcore, and it's a lot easier for a less wealthy person to play Magic the Gathering. I have a friend who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but actually had to stop playing because he could not afford to purchase staples, and he was very competitive. He had made to a couple of tournaments, but he couldn't keep playing because the staples he would need for a good deck were at least $150. Whereas in Magic the Gathering, a staple can cost $5 for one, and then $20 for playset. In Magic the Gathering, you can have a maximum of 4 in a deck, and I think it's the same for Yu-Gi-Oh! Looking at the abilities, I'm going to... Okay, so in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can tell if a creature has abilities by the color of the background. Like, okay, so I'm going to find a creature without an ability. I'm going to use Alexandrite Dragon. So Alexandrite Dragon, as you can tell, has a different background color. It's a yellow instead of a brown. That means that it's just a plain old creature. It doesn't do anything. It's really just simple. You just play it on the field. You can do whatever you want with it. Whereas if it's brown, you know it has an effect. And for Odd Eyes Saber Dragon, it's if this card is in your hand, you contribute 1 light monster, send Odd Eyes Dragon from your hand, deck, or your side of the field to the graveyard. And if you do special summon this card, when this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. That's a rather straightforward ability, and I'm pretty sure many people will say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with that." But it's very hard. There's less, like, you can just play it, and do that special summoning, and it would be completely okay. Your opponent wouldn't have anything to say against it. But then that creature, after you summon it, it's just there. You can attack with it, you can defend with it, you can do whatever. In Magic the Gathering, you have these special abilities called that similar to your effects. Like this one has flying. Okay, so in Magic the Gathering, you can block because a damage is dealt to the opponent directly. It's not directed to a monster or anything. It's directed to your opponent directly. And a flying creature can't be blocked by a normal creature. It has to be blocked by another creature with flying or a creature with an ability called Reach. And that completely makes gameplay a bit harder for those who have never come across that ability. And it's a rather common ability, I'm not going to lie. It's been around since the beginning. But the ability makes you strategize better. You have to, when you build a deck, you can't just have a bunch of normal creatures. You have to have, almost every deck has something that can block a flying creature, because they are a staple. The ability flying is a staple in a Magic deck. Well, almost all decks. See, there are rogue decks, deck lists that go completely away from the original, from the bandwagon, and I have talked to other people. I've talked to Yu-Gi-Oh players. I've talked to Magic players. I've talked to people who play both. And they say very, very clearly that it's harder to make a rogue deck out of Yu-Gi-Oh cards than it is to make out of Magic cards. Okay, so one of the most recent expansions, Khans of Tarkir and Magic the Gathering, you relied on different colors, and one of the mostly color combinations became very popular in competitive decks, and they were like white, green, and black, and all that type of stuff, because that is the different type of color mana that you use. And if you're still curious about that, you can look it up on the internet. I went with a color combination that was not seen in that expansion. It was, instead of being like a white, green, black, or a green, blue, black, or anything like that, I went with a rogue combo that was green, red, and black, and I created a very strong dragon deck with it. And it has had its losses, I'm not gonna lie, but it is still a very good deck. And there are many decks out there that are that don't follow that, and they lose. And I have not gone to competition. I have never made it to any tournament, league, or anything, because I never had the time. Which is why if I had done that type of thing, I probably would be a lot better, and I'd be a little more qualified to speak on this matter. Oh, sorry, my camera went out of focus. Going on. You guys have heard the basics of each, why I think one is better than the other. Well, not why. I still have a couple more reasons. Why won't my camera stay focused? Okay, because it was trying to focus on the table and my hand on the cards. Okay, so now I'm going to compare art styles. And where's that Chiven Dragon? Here it is. I may actually take it out. I'm going to take it out of its card sleeve because it's rather hard to have it be clear in a glossy sleeve. So, Alexandrite Dragon. The artwork's rather interesting. I think it's very good. The artist is very talented, but it doesn't. It looks fake. It has a very clear, cartoony anime look. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I think for the mature audiences, they'd just be like, "Oh, it's a dragon, okay." Whereas, okay, I'm going to be biased with this one. This looks like a monster to me. I mean, it has the extra legs. It's got the translucent wings. It's got this fearsome head. I mean, it's a clear look at a monster. Whereas with this, it looks like half mech, half dragon. And I'm not saying that's scary, but I don't think it's as scary or awe-inspiring as a Magic the Gathering dragon. I'd rather follow this than this. But that's my opinion. Be aware that most of this video will be and has been my opinion. So if you don't agree with me, put it in the comments down below why. And I want this to be a civil discussion. I don't want cussing. If I have to, I will turn off comments for those as soon as I see someone bash on something. I want a very clear discussion going on in the comments. Why it's good, why one is better than the other, why one is as good as the other, vice versa. So, the artwork style is very different. I have to say, though, the Odd Eye Saber Dragon has some pretty awesome artwork. If only my camera could focus on it, because, okay, there. It's pretty cool looking. I won't deny it. It looks pretty awesome. And I think the artwork is very cool in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I still think that, okay, let me find another dragon. Let me find my, where is it? Ooh, here's a dragon that can come up to that one. Here is the Shockmaw dragon. It is another red dragon, of course, but look at that. It is breathing lightning. Look at it. It's breathing lightning. And what's this guy doing? And I know I'm bashing a little bit, and I'm really, I am, and I'm trying to. Most of this video is going to be true to fact, but also my opinion, and I will bash. I am going to bash. I'm sorry. I just, that's how it's going to be. I'm going to bash a little bit, and I don't want bashing in the comments because that can lead to extreme overflow in my email, because YouTubers get email notifications whenever their video is commented on. But I mean, okay, so this guy is just doing a pose. He's just standing there looking like, ah. Oh wait, no, you can't see my face. But he's just turning his neck. It's like he's trying to look and see what the card next to it is. If only my camera could focus. You know what? I think I actually have a better picture of it right on the deck box. See? Okay, so it's just looking over. The kid's not in the card. The kid's not on the card. But the dragon's, if you look at it on a card, it looks like it's trying to see what other card is in your hand. Whereas with this guy's clearly doing something. He is breathing lightning and fire and death. I'd rather play with one of these dragons than one of these dragons. But that's my opinion once again. That about wraps it up for this video. I know I probably left a lot of things unanswered, or I probably didn't cover everything that I should have. I didn't get to do Pokemon in this video. This is already probably like a half-hour long video. I don't know. I will make another video in the future comparing Magic the Gathering to Pokemon. But yeah, if you like this video, hit that like button. Hit that like button. I have to angle my arm weird. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. If you want to leave a comment down below, commenting on my questions, or you want to make your concerns known about my videos, be aware for those who watch me regularly, I have been extremely busy with school. And I know I say this I've been saying this in almost every video now, but I have really been tired. I have not gotten the rest I need, and I'm stressing over trying to get YouTube videos up because I don't want to lose any of my fans. And I know one person who has recently subscribed has said you need to upload more, and I will be doing my best. You guys, I will be doing my very best to do this, but school will come first. And if that means that I have to put my YouTube channel on hold for maybe a month or a couple months, I will. I have to. I have to have school be my main priority. But that doesn't mean I won't. That doesn't mean I will stop making videos. It just means that I will have to take a break. And I have recently had a break but I will be continuing making videos for now. So, thank you all for watching. Subscribe for more content if you want. You guys have a nice evening. Good night.